I always found a lot of the directors know a lot of, they know about camera and they know about basic things, but so like it's really. I've done the festival thing a number of times. So I'm thinking, the next film I think we'll just kind of open it, and unless you have a festival and you open it right the next week, then it's sort of you can treat it kind of like a premiere,
sure.
Opening night or something. But I kind of like the idea of just kind of let people sort of more decide for themselves,
So, Bruce, is Don McKellar in this one? Dance Me Outside?
Well, Don, we tried to get him to look like an Ojibwe, but it just wasn't working. So we thought, okay, well, Don, he just he helps in the writing. He's worked in the screenplay with this other guy, John Frizzell. So, because it's pretty much an all-Indian cast, except for very few sort of white people.
Have you found the next Graham Greene?
We've found a bunch of them. The two leads, actually, the guy that plays the main character, Silas Crow, and his friend who plays Frank Fencepost in the movie, they're both from Winnipeg, and they're like 19, 20 years old, and they are the new Graham Greenes and the new Keanu Reeves, so they're really good.
That's great. In terms of Kinsella, who wrote the original story, I understand he got a little bit of flack about the idea of a white man writing about natives. Did you encounter any of that, or?
Mostly from white people, actually. They seem to be the people who are most upset about this idea. But I kind of go on the idea that if you follow that line of logic, that the story of Bambi should be written by a deer. So it doesn't really matter to me too much what color people are, or what. It's all about respect and listening to each other and working together. So, yeah.
So what kind of shape was the script in before you actually started to shoot? Was it complete, or was there a lot of changes? No,
it was. We worked a long time on the script, and before we started shooting, I like to have the script, very, very tight and very locked, because we are working with a modest budget, so I like to, we don't have a lot of time to shoot, so we stick pretty close to the script. We rehearse or do any of that kind of thing before we begin shooting. So I'll meet with the actors and we'll talk about the character, what they might wear, what kind of music they might listen to, and we spend a lot of time on the script. So, I like it to pay off and actually shoot it.
Was there a lot of workshopping and rehearsing off of the reserve, or did you wait until location?
We did a lot on location. We came to location with the actors a week or so early, so then we could actually, it was great because we could actually go to the locations, go to the house, or go to the different spots, and because a lot of film acting is how you work with your space, and for me as a director it was really good because I could kind of rehearse the scene, but do that with the practical realities of whatever the physical space demanded. Like I would have them walk by the window or not by the window, or come in this door rather than that door. So it was really good, and the actors were very excited to have that kind of rehearsal time.
So in your pre-production, do you do a lot of directing gimmicks, write that stuff in terms of what kind of cuts, what kind of shots, or do you wait until after you've rehearsed and really kind of keep it loose in terms of...
Well, it's a kind of combination. I like to prepare as much as possible in terms of like storyboards and things like that. For instance, I'll draw my little stick figures, like I'll have a scene and I'll think, well, how am I going to shoot this? And I'll say, well, it will be all in kind of one master shot, or I'll chop, do a lot of close-ups. So I'll have a basic idea, and then with the actors, then I'll block it out with that kind of idea in mind. And if we come up with some other kind of radical new way to block the scene, then I'll kind of change my storyboards. But, it's preparing as much as possible, so when the film begins, it's just all execution. If you're like an army about to invade a country, you don't, make it up as you cross the border. You got to be like total. You got to have your maps. You got to know where you're going. You got to have know where the gas stations are and that sort of thing.
So I'm very curious about how you motivate a crew. Your manners all the time in interviews and that kind of thing seems very laid back and that kind of thing. And I wonder how you reconcile that with the authority aspects of directing?
Well, I usually carry a sidearm and a riding crop, So if anybody gets out of line, it's like, I just sort of take on a German accent, which is very effective. But for the most part, it's all about collaboration. With my cinematographer and art director and assistant director, we spend a lot of time, talking. So everybody's kind of on the same page. They know, it's all about communication. It's all about me explaining as much as possible to every kind of detail what, the shot might be or the kind of feeling that I want. And so it's very much, I encourage people to give me their ideas.
Have you been working with a lot of the same crew members?
Yeah, with the cinematographer Miroslav Bazak, who has shot all my films. So we're like a really good working team, and my assistant directors I've worked with again and again, and a number of the other support team, like some of the grips and the grip I've worked with, and all these films. So it's great to have like this. It's like when you go do a film, it's like the roundup. It's like the Magnificent Seven. You go around and you get people from wherever they're working and say, okay, we're going shooting again. So it's good.
Is this a non-union crew or?
Yeah, this is probably, the crew that shot Dance Me Outside is probably one of the best non-union crews in the country. And it was non-ACTRA. And, I support the whole idea of unions, but sometimes when you're trying to make a homegrown Canadian film, you just don't have that kind of money. So we pay people as best we can. We're real upfront and honest, and it comes down to do you want to make the film or don't you?
Right. How much input did Norman Jewison have?
Norman was kind of like the godfather on this film. It was his company that bought the rights to the Kinsella book many years ago, I think 1980. And since that time, he'd been trying to develop a script. Like, he had bought the rights to this book with the intention of directing Dance Me Outside himself. And then he went through a series of different writers, people like Larry McMurtry, who wrote Lonesome Dove and The Last Picture Show, and Thompson Highway, and a number of people. But for some reason, he couldn't get a script together that he liked or that he felt was, true to the book or true to what he was trying to do. So he kind of ran his course, and then he sort of said to me, I used to be his driver, so he phoned me up one day after seeing Highway 61. He said, listen, I got the script, and I don't know what to do with it, so maybe you want to take a crack at it. So I said, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. And he, over the course of the production, he was more essentially the guy. We ended up writing it and producing it, and making the movie ourselves. But he was always there for advice or for counsel or for encouragement. But he was great that he sort of let us do it our way, and just a really, really supportive guy.
So he was on set?
No, thank God. He was actually shooting his own movie at the time in Italy. And a big movie was called Only You, which was just out with Marissa Tomei and Robert Downey Jr. He phoned in a couple times. We were shooting up near Parry Sound, Ontario. I remember getting a call, I was in the production office one night, and phone rings, and it's Norman from Italy. He's calling from Florence or something, and he's phoning. He's like, how's it going? I say, well, it's going pretty good, and we're on schedule, and the weather's been really great, and the actors he kept asking me, like, how's Frank Fencepost? Is he doing well? And I said, yeah, he's actually working out to be a great character. So he asked me all these questions, and I kept giving him all these great answers, like, no, things are going great. So there's this big pause, he's like, so I said, well, how's it going over there, Norman? On your $30 million movie, right? And he goes, there's not enough time on the schedule, and there's not enough this, and there's not enough that. I said, well, how long do you have to shoot your film? And he says, we got, 3-4 months to shoot. I said, well, boy, we got 28 days, Norman, And he goes, yeah, I know, but you guys are like pirates, So.
Okay, great. I guess we're all looking forward to Dance Me Outside. I know I'll certainly see it.
How many times? 30 times, right?
A couple
12.
times.
Okay.
On video, I'll see it a lot.
Okay,
sure.
great.
So I'm Bill Larochelle for Community Magazine.